Squash Tube friends, as you can see, I'm smiling. For those that have seen the video previous to this one, I do apologise for how miserable I looked. I think I was in the middle of a meltdown. In fact, I know I was in the middle of a meltdown, so apologies to all. But I have to say a massive, massive thank you to all the people that come back to my rescue with their ideas and thoughts of how to get around my rather disastrous problem with Roses of Provence. It was so lovely to have so many people that were sort of giving me the encouragement and the support and letting me know that I'm not the only one this has happened to and that we've all been there. But that's my first time really of any massive issue like that where I'm just like, oh, it was soul destroying because I was thinking the whole lot's going to come out. Like I said, loads and loads of responses, really, really appreciated it. Some big shout outs for Melanie Ward and Jemina Butler for reaching out to me, so thank you ever so much. And Melanie had a lovely chat, and we put the world to rights about stitching as well. So she actually sort of, although I was feeling quite depressed and miserable, she did actually pep me up, so thank you ever so much. But the biggest thank you has got to go to D Stitcher. Oh, what a lifesaver. I mean, do you know what? I got so upset by the whole thing, I did actually end up having to go and lie down and have a sleep because I had such a bad headache because I just got myself in such a tiz over something that simple. But then Dee came to my rescue. So Dee, thank you so much. The fact that you was just like, you know, there normally is some sort of workaround. It just depends on whether you can tie it in. Dee Lover made it so much easier for me. I still was struggling to find where I'd gone wrong. Dee found it and then came up with the fix of how to fix it. So I did that up to the line that I'd already done. And if I'm honest, I look at it now and I still can't tell where the problem was. I knew it was there. So thank you so much, Dee. And you know, you really are a wonderful person to have put your time and effort into sort of working out my problem. But I mean, that's what this community is all about. It is such a nice community. But Dee, thank you so much. I wish there was something I could do in return, but it's not like I could help you with anything. So, and I hope you have a lovely holiday. So I've done the thank you, and the massive thank you to everybody else who was nice enough to contact me. If you can hear that, that's the washing machine telling me it's done. That can wait. So, I'm looking at my notes because I keep doing these videos and then sort of finish the video and think, oh, I didn't say so-and-so. So I'm looking at notes so I can keep track. So as I said, massive thank you to everybody who commented, that gave me the support and the encouragement, you know, not to become despondent and not to get too upset, and it happens to us all. But I never want to see that frog again, I've got to be honest. I mean, as it worked out, I didn't really need to frog anything, but the thought of frogging that was just, oh. For someone that doesn't drink alcohol, I think I could have actually sunk a glass of alcohol, of wine. So yeah, it was that bad. It was an utter meltdown. So thank you all. So whilst I'm here, I thought it might be a good idea to do a bit of a whip update. And obviously the obvious one to start with is Roses of Provence. So obviously you've all seen what she's supposed to look like, which is like that. And this is where we've got to. Oh, and this is obviously after making the adjustments from the lovely Lady D, and then continuing to stitch to see how we go. So, oh God, she's bigger than she looks. So this is where we're at. So I don't know if any of you can see where the problem area is in there, but if you can, let me know, because I can't see it. So yeah, so good progress, definitely getting there now. I and I'm absolutely loving stitching it again. So, but I am being much more careful this time with the way I do it. So what I've basically done to try and sort of make sure that I don't go wrong is to stitch it as if I've gridded it. So I'm doing it in almost 10 by 10s. And try and set my mind that I don't ever sort of have too many sporadic stitches here and there, because that's when I seem to go wrong. So I think I'm going to finish the rest of her dress, like down the bottom, but then when I move upwards and do sort of her arms and her head, I've decided I'm going to grid the top of the fabric, and then I will work my way up and work out where the top of her head is, and then work my way down. There's no point in me trying to work upwards, because I've never worked upwards ever until now. And look what happened. It was a disaster. So yeah, so I'm not going to grid the bottom because I'm working downwards and I can work in 10 by 10 blocks in my head. But for the top half of her, I'm going to grid that. And I'm still undecided. I mean, I've watched a lot of your YouTube videos about the people that have done the skin 1/1. I do really like the look of that, but I'm not sure whether I'm just going to complicate things for myself. But I would really like to try it. So I'm still a bit undecided on that. But I mean, if you're going to do it, you've got to do it right. And everybody else's that's done 1/1 for the skin, it just makes it look just so. So yeah, I think when I get to sort of the head and the face and the gridding, we'll see if we bumped into any more problems along the way, and I think that will be the decider of whether I do a skin 1/1 or whether I just leave it the same. So anyway, so that's obviously the Mirabilia. What else to update you on? Okay, so the other project, so the whips that I'm currently working on, is obviously Roses of Provence. For those that know, Stormy, my little friend. I don't think I updated you on where I'd got to with him. So this is what it's supposed to look like. My little Stormy friend, which is just so cute and so British, really. And this is where I've got to on Stormy. So you can just see his little eye is about to appear, because that's the eye that he's got his eyeballs scrunched up on. So if I put this next to it, you'll see where I mean. This might be better. It might not, but this might work. So if you look on the picture, the bit you're looking at is basically his eye where he's got it shut with the leaf over the top. So yeah, so I did make some progress on Stormy, but at the minute he's gone to bed. They're very tired little owl, this one. But yeah, I mean, I'm still, obviously I'm doing him in tent stitch. And at first, obviously, I wanted to do continental tent stitch. Caroline Mazzio done a lovely video of the way she does continental tent stitch. But I'd already started him, and to be honest, I'd already done quite a lot of him. So my concern was, if all of a sudden I go from just normal straightforward half cross going backwards and forwards, if I then change the way I do it and do it a different way, it was whether it was going to be noticeable. So Caroline had the suggestion of, well, take it off of the frame and just check to make sure that it hasn't distorted, and that it isn't distorting, and if it isn't, continue it that way. But as she said, it's everyone's preference of how they do it. I'm pleased to report, Caroline, that so far he doesn't seem to have sort of got any real serious distortions, but I don't really think there's enough of him to work that out yet. So watch this space. So there's Stormy. So he's in bed currently. The next one is my Twisted Band sampler by Northern Expression Needleworks. Obviously mine's the cross stitch version. I know this is in all the wrong colours, because the printer for some bizarre reason will not print out the colours that the actual piece is. So progress on Twisted Band Sampler. Oh, without throwing him on the floor. Oh, I would have to do it the wrong way round, wouldn't I? Okay. So this is the process. Ooh. This is what we've got on the Twisted Band Sampler. And I still absolutely adore this fabric. And I just wished I knew what it was. I don't know what it is. I know that it's got sparkles in it. And I really like the sparkles. Like, super like sparkles. So I'm very, very happy with the progress on that. Surprisingly, I didn't grid this. And other than one small problem where I had to unpick it and repick it again and frog it once, I haven't had any future problems with this one. She says, well, touch wood, I haven't. So yeah, so that's the progress on Twisted Band Sampler. Loving doing that one as well. Then there's the one that I've been doing when I'm on conference calls, or, you know, I haven't got the opportunity to have the floor stand, the manilium frame out. I'm currently working on, she says, what am I currently working on? It is Alexandra Adeline, is it? Alexandra Adeline? Yeah. I did have a picture to show, but I don't seem to be able to find it. I told you I was so disorganised. You'd never think that my job means I have to be really organised, would you? Because I don't appear to be. Okay, so... Oh, did I just knock you? I'm ever so sorry. Okay, so progress so far is... Oh, see, I still haven't sorted all this out. So progress so far on this piece. So yeah, so that's coming on, but that one is a take as long as it takes. I must admit, it does get a little bit boring stitching with the same colour, but if it's one of the mindless moments that you're doing it, it's not so bad. But I still don't like the fabric, and the colour of it actually, I don't think that helps. I mean, it's really scratchy and scrunchy, and it's not raspberry, but yeah. So I'm still doing it because at the end of the day it's a quick one. I say quick, it's not quick at all. But basically it's one that I can do without really having to think or sort of pay too much attention to. It's only one colour, so I find it really easy to just sort of pick this one up and just do bits and pieces with it. So, but yeah, we're getting there with that one. So that's that whip, and I think that's it for the whips. That is it for the whips. So that's where I'm currently at on all these bits and pieces. At the minute, my mirabilia is like taking the forefront. So basically, other than stitching on my little hoop with bits and pieces as and when I can, the rest of my stitching is all being done on my mirabilia. I would like to at least get all of her dress completed, and then maybe I might put her to bed and then grid the top and do that. And then whilst I'm doing that, phase in Stormy and the Twisted Band Sampler. But I don't know, I don't really like to sort of say I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and pop in and pop out every 5 minutes or every week, or rotate them, because I'm very much the type of person that likes to stitch what I'm feeling for the day. So if I feel, you know, like the elegant lady, then I want to stitch the elegant lady. But if I've sort of set myself to a very strict structure, I find it very hard to put one down that I'm really enjoying to pick another one up and think, but I'm not enjoying this one as much as that one. I mean, maybe the novelty of her or wear off, maybe that is it. I think because I got so upset that she'd gone wrong, now that I've got back into it again, I'm like, oh, she's fine, I'm having fun. So at the minute I think it's mostly going to be working on Roses de Provence, and then just switching the other ones as and when I feel like I need a change, and stitch what I'm feeling at the time, because I think it depends on what I'm feeling, you know, and what mood I'm in will dictate to me what I want to stitch on. So there you go. So that's the whips anyway, listening to me ramble. Haul. I haven't really got any haul. I don't know if you remember, I actually placed an order with so-and-so and got part of the order for the buttercup motifs in one of my previous videos. And there was a back order. So they basically sent me the chart, the beads, and I think one of the threads. But the two main threads in the fabric were on back order. Well, obviously they told me it was on back order, it'd be a couple of weeks. Well, I placed the order on the 1st of July. It's now the 29th of July, and they still haven't got everything. But the lady was really good, and said that she was going to send me the fabric and the one sampler thread that they have got in stock, but they're still waiting on one of the other sampler threads. So that, hopefully, fingers crossed, will arrive tomorrow. But that does sound like ever such a long time. 28 days and there was no sign of it. And apparently they were holding that order so that they could ship it all together. Well, that's nearly a month. So I don't know what it's like for you in Canada and the States and Europe. Do you have the same problem sometimes there? That if something's on back order, they just tell you it's on back order, but they've already took your money? And then you have to just sit and wait for as long as it takes to get your order? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I'm fortunate, but these things happen. And she was really nice and apologised and said that she'll get those bits out to me so at least I can make a start. So that will be something else that I can make a start on if I feel like another small project to work with. So the only thing that I have on a haul side of things is my new little box. So I've got I don't know, I think I've got lots of project boxes that all of my DMC flosses go into, which is fine, but then I was finding that they were sort of all hickledy-pickledy and all over the place. And when I finished projects, it was like that one box wouldn't hold all of the threads, so then you'd have boxes and boxes, but then I wasn't really well organised enough to have a box for 1 to whatever and another box from like 1 to 7, 5 to 700s. And then all of a sudden, whilst I was out, I came across like a crafty box from Hobbycraft, and they said that it was for sewing and for other bits and pieces. So I purchased it, and it's not too bad actually. So let me show you, and hopefully I can do this without them all flinging out at us. So this is my box here. See? Now, my only comment, I mean, they do come in and out, they do fit, but the only comment is that the flosses have to go sideways, and I like the numbers at the top so I can see them, whereas on here, you have to have the numbers on the side for them to fit into all of the little trays. But things like, your pearly thread, they fit in there. And then obviously the ones where I've not bobbinated, but it's DMC, I've put them, don't know if I can show you, I've just put them like that in there. So, haven't completely worked out exactly what I'm going to do, because obviously, as you know, I'm in the middle of still renovating and decorating, and I'm trying to work out the best options and solutions for my crafty area, because part of the crafty area has got like a big recess, which is almost like a cupboard size but bigger. So my idea to my husband was, well, if you shelve all that out for me, then all my craft stuff can be in there, and I can walk into the cupboard and pick the things I want. But it's working out sort of, obviously he needs to be able to put shelves in, but I need to tell him how deep I need those shelves. So it's things like your manilium frames. You know, once you're not using them, I need somewhere to put them. Now obviously you're not going to lay them sideways because some of mine are actually quite big. So I want somewhere where they'll stand up maybe. And then obviously your flosses, you know, if I sort of have this system, there needs to be enough height for me to do that. And then it's like, well, my fabrics, I would like my fabrics to be sort of flat and where I can see them and flick through them, because currently they're just in a box, and well, I just end up sort of, well, the whole box gets destroyed because I'm trying to look for something. So I'm trying to think of ways to make it so that the craft room really, really works and that everything is literally to hand, and that I don't end up in that situation where there's so much stuff that I have that I've forgotten what I've got because I can't see it. You know, it's no good keep putting things in boxes with lids on. It might look pretty from the outside, but that's not functional when I'm flicking through and thinking, oh, I might do a new project. And then I end up ordering something that I didn't actually need because I had something that was perfectly acceptable and probably just as nice in my little tiny stash. But the idea is the stash will grow. But I want it to be so that I'm ordering stuff that I really, really like. But then obviously I want to be able to see it in my crafty room. So that is a work in progress. But that is my little box. And my idea was that obviously because I've ended up with sort of 3 or 4, maybe 5 skeins of the same rolled up on bobbins, because obviously I've had 5 different projects with 5 different project boxes with the same colour in it. And if I'm honest, I'd say out of 3 of the skeins I've maybe had, I don't know, 4 or 5 lengths off of them. So in actual fact I have actually got 4 skeins of that colour and didn't really need to buy any more. So what I'm trying to do is make it so that they stay in there as main stock, so to speak, and then when it's, you know, when we get to the point where I'm actually going to kit up, then obviously I'll pull it out, and then when I finish that project I'll put it back in. But it's worked out at the minute that I've actually got a lot of different colours where I've got at least 4 skeins of the same thing, which I didn't really need because I just could have switched it out from one project to another and still had plenty. So still working on that, still work in progress. I was having a little think about, you know, maybe being ahead of the game on what might come next. Now obviously you all know I really, really would like to try the Save the Stitches, but as everyone has said, and you know, anyone that's actually done it, it's a very big project to take on. And if you've not done black work before, and if you like to sort of have like nice little finishes, that's not something that's going to be small. And obviously a lot of the projects that I've got going currently aren't small. So the Twisted Band Sampler, that's not small. Mirabilia, that's not small. My owl, that's not small. So after lots of debate, lots of advice from those that have done Save the Stitches, I decided that I would download one of the freebie patterns, the Gold Christmas Star by Elizabeth Armand. Now obviously it's a free pattern, you don't pay for this. Do you know what, I hate this camera. I don't know why it switches off all the time, but it does. So it's the free pattern, so I think I'm allowed to show this. But basically it's gold and black, there you go. And it's in the shape of a star. So my intention was to get that kitted up and have that either on my Q-snap or on my hoop, and that might be the one that I might try commuting with and stitching. So that way, you know, you've only got 2 or 3 coloured threads that you need, and then obviously once I get to the beading section I can actually bring it home and do the beading at home. You wouldn't want to try that on a train, would you? That could be quite messy, especially if you hit a bump or someone's, you know, knocks your bead pot, and before you know it your entire section of beads is all over the floor of like the train. No, I would not be a happy girl if that happened. So I think that's the one little project that I think I might start. It works with black thread, and I think it said gold metallic thread, but when I've looked on the website, the colour that they've given me on the information regarding what I need, like the materials, it says DMC metallic gold thread 5284. Well, I've gone onto the so-and-so website and they've got 2 different places it could be on their metallic threads, but the numbers don't match up, so I'm not really too sure whether it's a discontinued colour, in which case I just need to pick any of the sort of dark gold metallic threads. Again, metallic threads, something I haven't used, so learn something new again. But yeah, no, I think I'm going to give this one a go. It has got some specialty stitches in, so it's got 8 arm eyelets and 16 arm eyelets. But other than that, I think it's just standard back stitching. So I thought that might be the better route, is to try something a little smaller and a lot simpler before I dive in with anything too big. So yeah. So that's obviously my idea of what I'm going to do next, or what I'm going to bring into the equation. And whilst I'm here, because I'm on my lunch break, so I'm having lunch. As you can see, I'm having lunch. So I thought I would do another tag, because I keep feeling that I don't end up doing the tags. For one reason or another. Sometimes it's because I missed the original video, and by the time I do see it, it's like 2 months later, and I'm thinking, well, I can't do that tag now, it's 2 months later. So I'm trying to sort of keep on top of the tags. I mean, Coffee Stitcher, I love your tag, but man, you've made that one hard for me to answer, because I'm not knowledgeable enough yet, so you're going to have to wait for the answers on that one. I will get there when I can find answers for what you're looking for. So yeah, but I love the tag, but a little bit difficult for a newbie. Make it easier, because they're really hard. So I've decided to do the unnormal tag by Stitching Fish. Hello. Because a lot of these I can answer, so that's always helpful. So here we go. So number 1, what is the strangest place you've ever stitched in? The strangest place I've ever stitched has got to be in hospital. So whilst I'm well and in the hospital, I took some stitching with me, and as you can imagine, I'm sitting there stitching away like a lunatic in my bed and doing the best I could with one hand. And my consultant came in and was like, oh, you do cross stitch? So I was like, yes, I cross stitch. And he was like, oh. I'm not even going to explain to you the look he gave me. I don't think he was expecting me to be laying in a bed cross-stitching. Although he did happen to mention that it is very therapeutic and quite calming. So I don't know if he's got someone in his family that does it, or his wife does it. But the fact that he knew that it was calming, he said it was a good thing for me to do and to keep my brain occupied. So yeah, in a hospital bed, literally moments before surgery. What is your next favourite hobby? Well, obviously you know I loved my sport, but I haven't done sport now for 12 months because I can't. Eventually maybe sport might float back in, but again I'm going to need to be really careful of what I do, how I do it. I would say the only other hobby type thing that I've ever done and ever really liked or even sort of got into was beading. Like making bracelets and anklets and necklaces, earrings. So I would say the next best thing would be beading, but I don't know. Although beading, I like it. It's a messy hobby to have. It's one of those hobbies where, to do it, you've got to have all the beads out, and you've got to have your pliers out, you've got to have somewhere to sit. It's not something that's quite as easy to just have your frame, your stand, your little box next to you, and off you go. So with beading, especially sort of in my house, because all my beading stuff currently is out in my utility room. So because of the way it is, you have to drag it all in, then lay it all out onto the table, and then clear it all up at the end of the day, which in some respects you can't do if you're only halfway through. So then it all gets left out, and my husband can't stand that, so he doesn't like anything that's too messy. And I have to agree with him, because if that was him and he left all his car stuff laying all over my worktop, I would not be best pleased. So I would say beading. To smoke or not to smoke? No to smoke. But I do vape. See? I'll show you. So vaping. This one in particular hasn't got really any nicotine in it. So it's sort of smoking, but it isn't. It's just sort of flavouring. But it keeps me chilled, keeps me very calm. So, what is your favourite social media to share your stitching on? I have joined some of the Facebook groups, but I just sort of watch them. I don't really get too involved in them, if I'm honest. One, because sometimes, a bit like what Dee Stitcher said, sometimes people are not so nice. Not that anyone hasn't been nice to me, but when I've been on there and then, you know, they've started up having squabbles and difference of opinions, and then, you know, the posts where people are saying, please admin, please remove me from this, you know, these are not very nice people. That then sort of puts me off. I don't really want to involve myself if that's how it is. I mean, not that I'm saying that it is that way, you know, it could be one individual, but when you see things like that, I'm just like, oh no. So I would say that my favourite social media is by far you guys, so FlossTube, because I've never seen or had any experience of people being nasty on FlossTube. I don't know if that's the case, but me personally, no one has been nasty. And I've always found everyone really, really friendly. But that's me personally. And the only other thing that I've joined that I'm still trying to learn how to do things on is Instagram. I do like Instagram, and I find Instagram is one of those things that you can just sort of flick through just before you go into bed and check out what everybody's been doing. So yeah, FlossTube and Instagram is my social media fix. Do you model stitch? No. Or have you ever? No. So definitely no to that. Wash or no wash? Where I can now, I will wash. After washing my Faces project and seeing the difference of how good she looked after she was washed, and the fact that all of the floss was fluffed up, it looked really, really sparkly. Yeah, so where I can, I will wash my finish. If I put beads on, I'm not so much, because I'm a little reluctant just in case something happened or the beads popped off or something like that. And obviously my Mirabilia, that will not go in the wash because she's on hand-dyed fabric. So I think as long as I'm not using hand-dyed floss or hand-dyed fabric, I will wash. But only with like DMC and like Magic Guide or plain fabric that you know you can wash. I would never be prepared to give something a go and then find that it ran, because I would be mortified. That would be another soul destroying video of, oh my god, what do I do? So yeah, definitely not. If you use a digital program, which do you use? I personally love my digital program. In fact, I think that's some of the problem with the Mirabilia, is that I'm currently trying to do it off of a working copy on paper, and I'm not used to that. I'm used to having a digital copy. But at the minute, trying to get a digital copy of the paper version is working out to be quite tricky, because for some bizarre reason my scanner, it sort of scans, but it makes it all blurry around the edges, so then it's difficult to work out so that you can scan the pages in and know exactly where you finished and where you start when you move to the next page. So because of that, I'm just working on a paper copy currently, but I am thinking how I can get it electronically. And I know that some of you have said that the easiest way is to scan it in and then sort of find where you are and mark it off in black so that you've already done that bit on another page. That's fine if you can work out where you are, but given that I struggle just to go from top to bottom and get stitches in the right place, I'm not sure that I trust myself to work out on a pattern which bit I've done and which I haven't. So bit of a lame excuse as such, but I don't know, I'm just too scared at the minute. So yeah. But I use GoodNotes. All of my Heaven and Earth designs have been done on GoodNotes because it's the beauty of being able to highlight, unhighlight, change the highlighter so I know what's parked, what's there, what's stitched, what isn't stitched. And if I do mess up and I have to undo a couple of stitches, then obviously I've got the rubber so I can rub it out. But yeah, I definitely prefer working electronically than I do on paper. What do you do with your finishes? Well, all of my finishes, which is not a lot, but all of my finishes to date have been framed. And I will continue framing all of my pieces until I cover all of my very white walls in my house. So, obviously you've seen parts of my house and you know that it's very white. There's lots of whites in my house. It's just like a big blank canvas. And one of the reasons that I'm picking some of the designs and some of the things that I'm doing is because certain places in my house, certain things will work. So, and the fact that it's white walls, my intention is to cover my walls with my cross stitch. I'm sure my husband's going to absolutely adore that his wife's handiwork is all over the house. No. Obviously we do have pictures and we do have mirrors, but there is quite big, large spaces of white wall that, you know, you could just put a picture there. But the fact that I'm doing some of the designs that I'm doing now and the Heaven and Earth designs, you know, I think they have to be framed. I'd like to say that I would make cushions or I'd make cubes or but I really don't think I would. I think I like to have things hanging on the wall because I'm actually really quite a materialistic person. I do like the simplicities of not having too much stuff. But things on the wall and things to look at, I'm fine with. So I think the only things that I possibly would turn into a cushion is something of like the needle worker piece, where you could sort of turn that into a little cushion that goes on my crafty chair. Or I've never really had a go at a wall hanging. I think if I looked it up, maybe. I think because it requires sewing or it requires something other than what I know I can do, it's just the thought of, oh, you know, you could end up ruining your own cross stitch design because you mess it up trying to connect it to some more material. So yeah, I'm not really that adventurous, so I tend to be more into the getting it framed at the minute. But like I say, you know, I think once you give something a go, you could end up going, oh well, I actually love that. So yeah, so I think I'm still that's still out at the moment, and framing is in. But you know, as time goes on and I become a little bit more experienced, and maybe I have a little go with some little projects to try and make cushions or make cubes, then yeah, that could all change. But you know, watch this space. So there you go. That's my my unnormal tag answered for stitching fish. I suppose I should really go and eat my lunch now. But I really wanted to just do another video to let you all know that it was so much appreciated for all the comments and the help and the support in my time of need. Because there was tears in my eyes and I was absolutely mortified at what I'd done, and that I couldn't work out where it had gone wrong and how I was going to fix it. And I thought, you know what, that seemed like such a morbid and miserable video, and I looked terrible. So I thought I'd best do a video quickly and update you all to let you all know that it's all fine. The drama is over, and I'm back to being stupidly happy Teresa, with a very big smile on my face, because I'm still totally, utterly loving stitching her. But thank you all so much, and I will see you on the next video. So happy stitching everyone, and happy midweek. Bye for now.